This is West Metro Engine 2. It is a 2021 Pierce Ultimate configuration. It is called a Velocity engine. Hi, my name is Aaron Bond. I'm an engineer with West Metro, and I'm here to give you a tour of Engine 2. And here we have the cab. This is where I operate the truck. I'm the engineer, so I drive the truck here. It is equipped with airbags, more modern safety restraints, and it is a much safer cab for us as firefighters to respond to calls in. As you can see, there's no post in the windshield anymore, giving us way better visibility of the road, being able to see what we're responding to. The windshields are a lot bigger on this truck. The truck is much quieter now because the insulation and sound deadening around the engine compartment is better, and throughout the cab is much better. When we're driving, running lights and sirens, I'm able to communicate with the officer via the headset seamlessly because we aren't hearing all those outside noises like the siren, other things going on, and we can really concentrate on responding to a call. This truck is equipped with other safety features such as marker lights when we open the doors, so cars coming up beside us, it gives a warning indicator to show people that a door is open. Here in the back of the truck we have the firefighter seats. This seat is called the Delta seat. It is for a fourth firefighter, and you can see there's an air pack in the seat ready to be worn to wear into a fire. We have lots of other equipment in the truck. We have life preservers for water calls. We have ballistics gear now for shooting calls. We have an ice rescue suit, and then lots of other medical protective equipment such as gloves and extra masks. You can also see that there's gear in this truck because this truck is in service and there is a crew working on it currently. You can see the firefighter that works in this seat, his gear sitting here with his helmet and his bunker pants and his bunker jacket ready to run a call when we get one. And on the other side we have what we refer to as the Charlie seat, and it is set up the same way with the air bottle in the seat ready for the firefighter to respond. It has a really modern bracket system where if we were to get in an accident, this pack will not release, it holds. But if the firefighter wants to get out of the seat and pull slowly, it releases. And it's based on energy, and it can pick up an accident, so it will keep him in the seat versus releasing the bottle, creating a dangerous projectile inside the cab. And it reloads just like so. Up front on the other side of the truck, we have where the officer sits. The officer is in charge of the rig, in charge of the crew, makes all the calls on the fires we go on, decides on how we're gonna approach a scene, decides on what we're gonna do as far as attacking a fire, is in charge of the medical calls. Up there you can see there's a computer. On that computer we get all the information about the calls. We get directions on how to get to a call, anything that is being told to the dispatcher through the 911 system on what we need to know. Here we have, on all West Metro apparatus, we have an identification system. We call them passport tags. The officer carries these up to a fire or any other scene, hands them to the chief, and then the chief applies them to a board, and he can see who is on each rig. And so he'll take one of these and give it to the chief, so the chief's aware of who's on that rig. And as you can see, it's adjustable based on who's coming in different shifts with each day. And that's the cab. And in here we have our EMS compartment that houses the EKG equipment. It is easily accessible from the outside, and you have access inside the cab to check the equipment. It is in this configuration so it's easier to get out of the truck and be able to access a patient a lot quicker. So our apparatus committee has done a great job designing this truck and adding compartments and using every available usable space. For example, this new fire extinguisher compartment down here, and in there you can see that we have 2 fire extinguishers that are fit perfectly in there. And they're easily accessible now in this compartment. So we've gained a lot of space by adding this compartment and putting the fire extinguishers in there. These are our pre-connected hoses on this engine. We have a 2 3/4. They're both 200 feet long. We have two 2.5s. One is 200 feet long, the other is 100 feet long. 100 footers just for quick access. Garage fires is what we call it, a garage line. It's for a lot of water really fast. It's easy to deploy, it's really short. They're lower in height than the old engines used to be up high. They're nice and low, easily deployable, and easy to repack. Under here we have our main intake for the 5-inch. We have a 2.5 intake and two 2.5 discharges, and then a myriad of other drains and connection points. On all our new engines, we have roll-up doors instead of cabinet doors. And this is the pump panel. This is my job to operate the pump panel, know how everything works on here. This is where all of the water that gets used to pump on fires, to use on any call that requires water, gets run through this. It's much more modernized. Up here we have valve controllers. This is how we open and close valves. All these across here. For example, this one goes to the passenger rear discharge. I pull it down and it opens the valve. I can close it. And then the same thing down here. We have this is our main tank valve that opens the tank on the truck, which is 500 gallons. And we open this valve and it feeds the pump with water. Up here we have the main control valve for the throttle. This is how we control how much water flows through the pump and flows out through hose lines. It is a digital controller. It is able to self-adjust based on incoming pressure and outgoing pressure with a computer system that moderates it on its own, so we can maintain a pressure that we set. If we set a pressure with it, it holds that pressure on its own without any spikes and changes. With this gives me the opportunity to do other things, to help the crews get ladders thrown, to help the crews get their hose lines in the door, because I know if I set a pressure here, it's going to hold that pressure. It's not going to spike on them. If we get an increase in pressure from a fire hydrant, and the truck will sense that increase in pressure and it'll drop the RPMs on the truck in order to manage the increase in pressure, protecting the guys on the hose line. And it just frees us up to do other tasks. Instead of being glued to this panel, we can set it and keep moving and keep working. Also in this compartment, I have my gear. My gear is out here ready to be put on, so I throw it on before we go on a call, but it's staged here in this compartment. You can see my radio, my helmet, my pants, and my jacket ready to go. And then underneath we have a couple sections of hose for quick connection to a fire hydrant. A mallet is used for getting couplings unstuck. Down here we have a hydrant wrench. This is used to open a hydrant. It's adjustable. And it's just in here. We have several of them on the truck, but this one's in here if I need it in a hurry. If I'm connecting to a hydrant that's real close to the truck, I can do that. Another compartment. In here we have my SCBA pack, as you saw on the seats up front, but this is the one that I use. It's back here. I don't wear it while I'm driving, or I don't get into it, because my job is to drive and get us there safely. And then when we get to the call, I come back here and I quickly put it on and get myself ready to go if I'm going to be going in with the crew, but it is staged out here in this compartment. We have a headset here. This can be connected to the panel if it's getting very loud and I can't hear my radio. I can connect this headset to the panel. Actually, let's just do it. And now this is connected to the radio. So I wear push to talk on my side here. This is connected to the radio and I can hear everything that's going on inside. If I hear an emergency, I need to go over the radio. I can push to talk on my push to talk box and get through to command the crews inside and let them know something's changed. Maybe we ran out of water, something's changing on the outside. But it gives me the opportunity to hear. This truck can get very loud when the pump is running at high RPM, and this just helps out a lot with that. And up here we just have other myriad of tools that are used in everyday work in the fire department. A plug kit is used to plug fuel tanks that have ruptured, and we can get a quick plug on it without draining all the fuel out. Some lubricant spray. Seems like you need that stuff on all kinds of stuff. Coming in the winter months, we have ice melt. A lot of times people's sidewalks leading up to their houses can be very slick, and operating a pram on a slick frozen sidewalk or driveway, so you can throw down some ice melt real quick and help get it ready for when we're bringing a patient out of a house. Or on a fire, we're making a lot of ice with this truck. You can throw it down and around the truck to keep people from falling and hurting themselves. We have just standard tools in here. You never know when something comes up where you need a wrench, a screwdriver, Allen wrenches, a socket set. You need them at home. We need them a lot of times on calls. You never know. A lot of times we're fixing simple things for people. I've repaired somebody's doorknob for them with these tools. In this compartment we have more, we call them hose appliances. They're Ys for connecting more than one hose together, adapters to connect different hoses together, extra nozzle, a large Y to connect a large 5-inch hose to two 2.5s, and then some other adapters that are used in the fire service. As we move down, we have traffic cones. Our traffic cones are collapsible. And they're easily stored, easily deployed. I use these more often than I think anything on the truck. Out on the road, I really want people to see what we're doing, especially out in car accidents, and I put these out religiously. In here we have a bucket full of just simple cleaning supplies. The fires that we're running on today are a lot dirtier, and so we're spending a lot more time on scene cleaning each other, cleaning our gear, and cleaning ourselves off before we get back in the truck. So we'll actually spray each other down, we'll scrub each other down, get all the grease, get all the products of combustion off of us before we get back in the truck. So we have what's called a clean cab. We don't want to bring anything from a fire, bring it in the cab, bring it back to the station. We want to get ourselves clean, and so we put this on the truck because we've learned that staying clean keeps us cancer-free. Over here we have our Wildland bag, or structure protector Wildland bag. It's for, in the area we have areas where we have homes that are exposed to urban interface, wildland, grass fires, they're around green belts and stuff like that, where a fire can creep up the side of a hill or up to a home. And this is the bag we grab. It's got smaller, lighter hose in there that can be quickly deployed around a house in order to extinguish a wildland fire that's impinging on a house, or if we need, like for example, the Bear Creek, we use hose like this. This bag's to be worn like a backpack, and you can take it wherever, connect it to a fire truck, connect it to a water source, but it's lighter and faster deployed. Up top we have a walkway that we've added to these trucks to gain access to the upper compartments on the truck. We have 3 compartments up here. Here we have just brooms, shovels, squeegees. We use squeegees to clean up water as much as we can on some scenes. Just like you'd have at your house, brooms and shovels. Up on top in this compartment, we have absorbent for absorbing fuel spills and other things. We can absorb anything liquid with that, really. And then this is extra foam containers to put in the truck. We use it for all fires, fuel fires. We use it for regular house fires, trash fires, even grass fires. It's just, we call it microblaze foam, and it's used to aid in extinguishment. We have cribbing for vehicle accidents. For stabilizing a vehicle is its main use. In here we have our 5-inch supply. There's 1,000 feet of 5-inch in here. This deploys out the back of the truck when we connect it to a fire hydrant, and it supplies the truck with water through this hose. It is our main way that we connect to a hydrant when we're at a fire. But this cabinet makes it easier to load it from the top. We can open the cabinet, load it, and close it up, protecting it. Here we have the hose reel on the truck. It's a smaller diameter hose. It's not really used for any emergency big fires. It's more of a mop-up, small dumpsters, small vegetation fires. It's easily and quickly deployed and easily and quickly put back on the truck. But there's a myriad of different things that we could use it for, extinguishing, small fires that where you don't need a lot of water. And it deploys off the engineer side of the truck. This is where the 5-inch deploys out the back of the truck. If a firefighter was to connect it up to a fire hydrant, he would pop these tabs, release it, reach up here, pull this piece of webbing, and connect this to a fire hydrant, and we would deploy to a scene while this played out the back of the truck. In this other one, we have 2.5-inch hose, and we use this for extending or reaching out further to attack a fire. If it's far away and we can't get up close to it and we need to extend some hose to put our attack hose on, we can put this into service. Or we need to, on like a wildland fire, lay from a hydrant a long ways, we'll use this because not as much water flows through this hose as the big hose. In this rear compartment down here, we have up top, this is called our high-rise hose. It is used for high-rise fires. There's a pipe inside of a lot of tall buildings called a standpipe, which the fire engine connects to on the outside. And then we connect this on the inside on the floor that we need to attack a fire and extend it from there. But it's packaged in such a way that we can carry it in to a fire in a high-rise and connect it to that pipe, which is called a standpipe, and attack a fire that way. Down here is a bag that goes with that hose when you go into attach to a standpipe. And in there's a bunch of tools, door chocks for holding doors open. There's a gauge so we can see how much water we're flowing. But this goes in with this hose when we go through a high-rise fire. And this other bag is our hydrant bag. So when we connect to a hydrant, the firefighter will take this bag and the big 5-inch hose that we talked about earlier. And these are the couplings and adapters that are needed to connect to a hydrant. And here's that hydrant wrench again. Spanner wrenches for the 5-inch. Use this to connect the 5-inch to a hydrant. And up top here behind the West Metro sign, it's a ladder rack. And we can lower the ladder rack so we can gain access to our ground ladders. And on there we have a 24-foot ladder. We have a 14-foot roof ladder. We have a folding attic ladder you can see on top. That's what this is, a folding attic ladder. But the ladders are, set up at easily accessible height to be able to grab and operate. And then they're stowed nicely up top. In this compartment, up here we have extra safety helmets, some rope bags, and then down here we have what we call a RIP pack. Our RIP pack has a large air bottle in it. It has an extra mask, like the mask you see that when we wear the SCBA. And this is used if a firefighter goes down in a fire, and we can go in and rescue that firefighter by connecting them to this supplied air. If they run out of air, if their mask is damaged, if they're disoriented, we take this. It has tools in it for cutting wire. It's designed to be drug real easily. We do a lot of training with this to be prepared to rescue one of the firefighters when they go down in a fire. Every single fire we go on, there's a team that's with this pack ready to go just in case such an event would happen. Moving down to the bottom, we have our new battery operated exhaust fan for clearing smoke out of homes or out of buildings. It doesn't work with any extension cords. It has a large battery, it has 2 of them, and it'll operate for quite a while with no power cord. We have more rope. We have an ice rescue rope. We have what's called this is our water rescue rope. It floats. And then just other rope rope is always needed on calls. In here we have more absorbent, which is quicker access for vehicle accidents. Almost every vehicle accident we go on, fluids spill out of the vehicle, oils, coolant, battery acids, fuels, and we use this to soak it up. And then when a tow truck comes, they usually clean it up. Instead of letting it flow into a drainage or something like that, that's what we use that for. So the extra Wildland gear, it has helmets, because we don't want to wear the big heavy helmets. We want nice, lightweight, be able to be really mobile. So helmets, goggles, and then what we call fire shelters. Fire shelters are an emergency use shelter that we use to deploy and cover ourselves if we get trapped by a wildland fire. And it's a last ditch effort, but everybody when they're on a wildland call needs to have one of these, and we have one for every member on the engine. In here we have spare SCBA or self-contained breathing apparatus bottles. So these are extra bottles that we use when we run out of air in our main air packs. We grab one of these, put it in our pack, and then we're good to go for another call. So a lot of people think this contains oxygen, and they don't. All they contain is compressed air. They're compressed up to 5,500 PSI with just clean air that's taken out of the air and compressed in these bottles. And in here we have more tools. We need tools for all different tasks, for all different calls, and so we try to always have a bunch of different tools for different things. Bolt cutters, pulling drywall, there's an axe here, there's a sledgehammer. This tool here, we use it for unlocking doors to get people's medications, or sometimes kids get stuck in cars when they're really young. We have a dog catcher to help control dogs. Sometimes we go in somebody's house and the dog needs to be controlled. Elevator keys, they're used for opening stuck elevators. More cutters, just lots of tools for lots of different tasks. All right, moving on, in this compartment, we have, this contains just more PPE and stuff for EMS calls. In today's COVID age, we need lots of PPE, masks, gloves, gowns. That's just a backup supply of those. Just some regular power tools like a drill, a little saw, and some drill bits. Just, again, a lot of just general tools, because that's what we do. Some more utility rope, a canvas or tarps. They're a little more heavy duty, but we'll use these to cover up, if we have a chance to cover up people's furniture from water damage when we're extinguishing a fire. And we do this on almost every fire I can think of. We try to protect people's stuff, TVs, things that are expensive. We can also use it to catch drywall if we pull drywall and get it out of the building. Just try to protect people's stuff. Over here we have what we call a set of irons. It's a Halligan and an axe. These are used mainly for popping open doors on people's homes if we need to make access if they're not home or they're trapped inside. And the irons are connected together so they can be easily carried into a call. They are strapped together here. They're almost always used together, but they're stored in such a way that we can carry them in and then they're ready to go. But you use the axe and the Halligan together to pop open a door or any other thing like that. Continuing to the front of the truck, we have the other side of the hose compartment that we saw on the other side. This is so it can be deployed off either side of the truck. It's the same 2 3/4, 2 2.5. It does deploy off both sides of the truck, so it doesn't matter which side of a building we park on, we can deploy the hose. And up front here on the front bumper, we refer to it as our bumper line. It's 100 feet, 1 3/4 hose that is ready to be deployed off the front of the truck. A lot of times we use this for car fires because we pull up to a car and it's here ready to go. We can run foam through this. We can also detach it and take it up into a building if we need to and connect it to a standpipe, connect it to an extended reach lay. But it's up here stored in the bumper. This is our Plymo vent. It connects to the exhaust of the truck. What it does is it removes any products that the engine creates when it's running. These things are known cancers. We want to get them out of the building, and so this hose creates a negative draft and pulls it out to the outside of the building when the engine's running in here. And as we pull out, it auto releases off of the exhaust, and so we can run a call. Here at Station 2, we are staffed with 2 engineers. We have an engine and a tower in service, ready to respond to calls. We also have a hazmat unit and run all hazmat calls within the district. We are one of the busiest stations at West Metro. I really appreciate you joining me for a tour of Engine 2 today.